Hi, my name is Daniel Walter Scott and I'm a trainer here at Bring Your Own Laptop. Now in this video we're going to look at local domains versus the .com. By local I mean, so let's say the UK. The UK has a .co.uk as their domain name, whereas a .com would be considered an international or a US based domain name. Now the question you need to ask yourself is, am I selling to the US or am I selling locally? That should answer your question. Okay, because local domains like the .co.uk rank better in their particular countries because it's a clear signal to Google that I intend to sell to these people in this country. But let's say you're like me and you have big plans to expand globally. What you can do is start with your localized country, so buy the .co.uk, but also buy a .com that you could move into later on. That's an easy process to do. Now, setting up some local domains can be a bit of a pain. If I wanted to do a .co.uk, that is really easy. I could sit down now, 5 minutes later, I'd have my .co.uk. Different for setting up the .com.au. What I had to do for that business is I had to have a registered business in that country before they'd give me the domain name, which can be a real big hassle. Okay, so I need a limited liability company, then I applied to the register with proof of that business using what's called an ABN number in Australia. Then they gave me the domain name. Okay, so that can be a bit of a limitation for local domains. And there are ways around that in those countries. The easiest one is you can register your personal name without a registered business. I could register danielwalterscott.com.au and without a limited company. Okay, all I have to do is prove my identity and I can get that domain name. Another way of skirting the rules a little bit is that, say my Irish website, I wanted to set up the website first, get that working, getting content, get that tracking before I set up my business in that country. So what I was able to do was I was able to send the registrar in that country notices from my Australian and New Zealand business that use the same domain name, use the same business name, and explain my intent to start business in Ireland. Okay, so with that, I was able to get the .ie without having to do a limited business, okay, until a little bit later. So if you can prove that you're either already trading in that country, okay, or you're selling to people in Ireland, or that you have strong intent to do it, then you might be able to get the domain name without a registered business, but that's not a guaranteed. Now, last thing to note is when you're gonna buy a local domain name, and it is one of those domain names that have gatekeepers and they're a little bit harder to get a hold of, is to use a local registrar. Okay, so use the local domain registrar from that country because they'll be able to answer all those questions about what the rules are and how they apply to you. Okay, so local is better than some of the bigger international domain name registers if you've got that real painful domain name to pick from.